Woo! This is exciting, everybody. Yeah. Guess who I have on? I have my very, very good friend. I was about to say my best friend.
Oh, God bless.
All my other best friends are going to get angry. Anya K is here. She's just the most beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, wonderful soul. I just love her to death. And we are doing a show that Anya had this idea for this brilliant show, and she's been planning it for a few weeks. And we kind of kept it under wraps for a while until my live. And then I said, I'm going to do a show with Anya, and it's about someone really special. And then I kind of whispered it. So this is different than what we normally do, but it's something that I just think is an amazing topic to explore, and this is about someone who's dear to our hearts, and that's JFK Jr. It's about John and his beautiful wife Carolyn. And Anya, I'm so excited because this is so cool. We're exploring this with photographs and real life. Yeah. Okay, so tell me.
I want to say to all of JC subscribers who are incredible people, and some of them actually are also watching my channel. They love JC so much, and I had so many. Well, let me start with this. It's everything in life is about timing.
Yeah.
So that we came to this point to actually have this conversation in such a format like this about such a topic we would never in a million years thought about it when I contacted JC last year to have just like another interview. This is not another interview. This is something that I actually received. I would say, let's go back into this. One of my subscribers under one of my videos a while ago posted a comment, and I read every single comment, by the way, and I see this comment. It says, Anya, you have to go visit Cumberland Island because it's very close to where you live. And she mentioned John, right? The wedding. And I look it up and I said, oh my goodness, this is literally a little bit more than 2 hours drive. And then I kind of like let it go. And all of a sudden, about 2 weeks ago, or I forgot, something came to me, like literally I received this, that I have to go there and I have to be at the front of their church where they got married. And I have to do live with JC. Like literally, I felt this. So I texted JC. Actually, I said, JC, oh my gosh, like it just came to me. Because I tell you why, everyone. I think for me, JC has this very, very unique link and connection with him, with his energy, with him. I feel kind of lately more connected to Diana, maybe because of the download. But when I think about JC, I literally feel like JFK Jr. There is this energy there. So JC was like, oh my gosh, I love it. This is good. This is like, this is different. So long story short, I took a trip.
Yeah. It's so exciting. And we did want to do it live with you there, but the reception wasn't very good. The internet was not great on the island. And it's so remote, right? So I want to show this. So
let me say now how this whole thing happened, because I was really desperate about this live. I wanted in real moment. I'm connecting with JC and we're doing live, but it wasn't the case because this is one of 3 largest islands in state of Georgia, on Georgia coast, United States, of course. And in order to get to this island, you have to take a ferry. This ferry leaves from this very sweet little town that is called St. Mary's.
There it is.
The ferry takes about from there. And actually later on, I will say that's how they took the ferry, actually their own boat for the wedding from there, from that place. Exactly. So because I knew
Because
that
it was all
internet
hush
is not good.
hush. Yeah, it was hush
Yeah,
hush.
Yeah, there was so much preparation for this wedding. It was like totally mission impossible, but they pulled it off. So I took a ferry, and I have to tell you guys, this place, even this little town, has this very special, unique energy. And when you get on this ferry, and this ferry takes you to this island, about 40 minutes, I don't know how you say, drive on the ferry, right?
Right.
You get there, and the first impression that I had when I put my feet on this land, I was like, oh my goodness, the energy literally hit me from the trees that I saw and the nature that I saw over there. It's very, I sent JC pictures so we can look at it, but when you go down on the south, you see on the very south, right there, the ferry, actually 2 spots. And we arrived in one of those spots, and then I took a tour because I wanted to really see everything, and I was hoping that they can leave me alone at the church.
Well, I think I've got all the photographs here. So let's see if it'll let me. Can you see that?
I don't see it yet, but
okay, so I have to. That's okay. We won't show anyone yet. Okay. I'm just going to stop share first, and then when I share it again, and we'll show the photographs. So you get on the look, even the very brief, like look at the photographs, I could feel the trees are so magical there. So you live in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, right now,
Georgia,
temporarily.
But Georgia's right next to you. But that energy
right next to the south.
Yeah.
South.
But the energy of Georgia and that whole region, it's just stunning and gorgeous, even though it's humid and I don't like humidity. Trees, every time you show me the beautiful nature, even the architecture in that area, it's just stunning. And for some reason, when you were telling me, you said there's some special energy about this island. I don't know what it is. For some reason, in my head, I got this energy of Atlantis. And I was like, oh, is it connected to that? What is this thing that you're picking up on that's very magical about Cumberland Island? What is it? What did you feel?
I'm so glad you said this. But when you open the pictures with this first drive, and trees. So first of all, this island is 18 miles long, okay? Only 18 miles. Right. But there is only one road.
Oh.
Only one road that takes you there. There's a moment where this road partially splits.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's about it. And we are talking like really rustic, they call it the Grand Avenue, is spectacular. The trees are connecting like literally right above your head, and you're driving through the wild, through absolutely wild. Like I never been in such a place. And so my first feeling, because I always listen to like the very first feeling about people or places. When I landed there, before I even get into the car, I saw those trees, that welcoming trees, and I was like, oh, I like almost like the spirit was like, not in a good way, not like creepy. Yeah. And this is so cool, JC. You pick up on the Atlantis. I tell you why. Oh,
I can't open it because it's sealed. So I wanted to see if there was photographs of the wedding in there, but you've got them. Look at that. What a beautiful.
This was the year when he was gone.
He went missing, yeah. It was was it July when he went missing? What month was it? Oh, that's creepy, isn't it? It was around his birthday, I think.
His
birthday is July 17th. Yeah.
The wedding was in 21st September of 1996. So 3 years prior. But I want to talk before we get to the church and John and Carolyn. First of all, I want to say this. I had because where I stay in this bed and breakfast, called, by the way, Spencer Inn House, or Spencer House Inn. 1 second. Spencer House Inn bed and breakfast,
Diana
family
Spencer.
owned. Yeah, and someone said to me, Anya, this is like Princess. I'm like, you know, I completely like actually didn't pay attention to this because I was like John Island. So she told me, the owner, Mary, she said, you know, when you go on this tour, it was such a good idea, JC. She said, you have to sit next to the tour guide, driver, and face, like I am actually facing the drive. So I did. I literally jumped at the passenger seat right next to it was a lady driving. Her name was Judy, and she was fantastic. And I had many questions for her, of course, and she answered all of them. And when we were driving, I felt like, because the people on the back couldn't see like this, you know, and I saw this Grand Avenue and those trees and the wildlife. I mean, incredible things. So the first story goes like this. Oh my God, I was thinking like when I was in the car, I'm like, I'm gonna say this to JC. So she says, Indians were first. They were very tall, 7 feet tall. And I'm like, what? I'm like, Indians, 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe not Indians necessarily, but Indians were first. Then there were Spanish, and Spanish brought the horses with them. And those horses are still there. I mean, not from the Spanish, but you know, the next generation. And they are wild, and they live in the wild, and you do not come too close. And I'm talking like real social distance, not like BS, because they're gonna kick you. And it happened many times. And they look like they are, you know, beat up and skinny, and because they are wild, they are free, they are so incredible. Yeah. Incredible. So Spanish brought horses. Yeah. Horses stayed. After Spanish were French, and after French were British. And then you know what started to happening? No. Carnegies.
Right.
Got the property, got the land. Some of this land has been sold to the national parks, although they still apparently travel there. I had very strange feeling about this, actually. Very, very unsettling feeling I had about it. Yeah. So actually, no, Carnegie's not so much unsettling. Rockefellers, I'm sorry. Two families. Yeah. Both Carnegies and Rockefellers. Anyway, so there is a place on that island that is the only hotel. Imagine having hotel on this remote island. Yeah. I mean, literally, guys, they don't have a zip code. They don't even have a post mail. I was asking, like, what's the address here? There are no addresses. Like, I mean, they don't have zip code as a place. They belong to like a different county. It's very strange. So this place is called the Greyfield Inn. And this is very significant place because the reception before the wedding and the celebration after the wedding and where the all the guests stayed was actually there. And the lady who was driving the car told me something that was very remarkable. And there is a documentary people can go and watch because the footage from their wedding was just very recently presented, which I also think it's a sign of something here. Stuff is coming out. Yeah. But the person who actually organized all of this for John was the lady that still is alive, and she's a very unique jewelry designer, and her name is Go-Go, that's the name, like a nickname but a name, Ferguson. And she
not Gigi, Go-Go.
No, Gigi, Go-Go, like a Go-Go.
I love it.
And her, I know, it's like, I'm like, what the name? But they were friends for 20 years. She pulled the whole thing together for him. And she is actually the granddaughter of Lucy Ferguson. And who is Lucy Ferguson? Lucy Ferguson comes from Carnegie's.
I was
So
going to say
this
this,
whole
we've got a Scottish family, okay, Ferguson, and I thought we were connected to some kind of
Carnegie's.
Yeah, right, okay.
And you know, JC, not Andrew Carnegie, the one in New York, but his brother Michael. So they're brothers, and it was from Michael's side, from the brother side.
Right.
So this lady, you know what is significant here? This lady promised, this was so beautiful, that tour guide says, Judy, she said, I was surprised that she was not in documentary about Junior. And she said, I know why, because she promised him to never, ever reveal any details from the wedding.
So she didn't want to be asked. Yeah.
No. And she was the most important in this. She pulled all of this together.
That's a true confidence. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, being very well known, you have to, you know, it's very hard to trust people, and you have to know who to trust and who not to trust. And so these, you know, and their entire, it wasn't just that their privacy was important in terms of, like, they wanted to have a private wedding, and paparazzi, they didn't want the paparazzi flying over and knowing where they were getting married. But it's the fact that, you know, they had a target on their head, right? And they know that the cabal are after them, especially because he posed a threat to the Clintons and things like that when he was I think he was going to run against her and things like that.
Yes, yeah.
I got a feeling as you were talking about the island, this is something that's only just recently. You got to understand, everybody thinks, oh, you're a conspiracy nut, blah blah blah. I was never always like this. I would say, you've got to understand, I studied fine arts. I was like a left-wing environmentalist kind of person, and you know,
you were?
Yeah, oh yeah. I would believe everything that the ABC told me. And I was like, oh, you know, it'd always be about all the, you know, feminist stuff and all of that stuff. So when it came to national parks and protected land, I truly had a belief, like, there's these good people in government and they're trying to protect the land because, you know, they're preserving. And I live in protected national parkland. It's the Blue Mountains is heritage listed land. Okay, so they call it heritage listed by UNESCO, that nobody's allowed to touch this here. And then we had these massive fires come through, which at the time we literally thought we were going to lose our home. It was widespread. It was the most horrible summer. There was no rain for months and months and months, and it was so dry, and it was horrible, and it was so devastating, and there was horrific images. And when you're caught up in that, you just think this is a natural disaster and they didn't know how to. But now I know that this is protected land because, well, there's two layers to this, that the fires were deliberately lit. It was literally like they went through and they did directed energy weapons and destroyed massive. Now, just imagine, this state is bigger than Texas. They went through and ripped through fires throughout, across all of this protected land, okay, because they wanted to build a railway system through there. And it was literally in the line of that railway system they wanted to build. But going back to protected land, I'm starting to realize that the bad guys love to have land that's protected, or they own sections of land that hold secrets. Okay, so they have to be in charge of all of that. So if you've got a whole massive bunch of trees that have things, or there might be artifacts in those areas, they need to own it, just like the Vatican needed to own everything, every bit of artifact they could get their hands on. So when you're talking about Cumberland, I was about to call it Carnegie Island, Cumberland Island, all I could think is they had to go and own that, because there's something about the space that is very sacred. or there's some kind of, do you understand that? And this could include
Absolutely.
portals.
Absolutely.
This could include portals. This could include anything.
And see, 100%.
I mean, and
100%.
why when you look at missing 411 research with David Paulides, he's mapped out where all these missing people went all over the world, mostly in the North America, and they were all located. They all seem to be in these national parks, these national forests. There's all these, and it's not just people just got lost. There's something about the land where there might be, I mean, this is my theory, something about portals and things like that, or a rip in, there's some kind of dimensional shift in these very unusual places or these sacred lands and these things. So that's why I was saying maybe that's what you were feeling, that there was something very special and unique or mystical about this untouched wild. So
well, but wait, I want to say, I want to touch on this, mention something. So, I mean, you know by now, because we share a lot of insights in private, that I am very energy sensitive and I pick up on things very quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, very. And I was there. So what, at the end, I came to this very clear conclusion from the experience that the land is sacred. The Mother Gaia there is sacred, is good, strong, sacred energy. However, there was a story for many, many years in history of this island, then that many very prosperous, powerful men in those families were passing away in pretty early age, young age. I would say they live up to 41, 42 years old. So what happened to this island, JC, is that women, strong women, roll the sleeves and run that island. And there were like very few key influential women, like that Lucy Ferguson, who was like, she knew every single living creature, what signs on the sand they leave, if it's fresh, if it's not, when they have been there, when they lay the eggs, when the babies are coming. She knew, and this is someone from like, you know, generations of Carnegies. I felt what happened was this, and I said this to Judy, to that tour guide. I said, you know, Judy, I feel like there was some kind of curse, but it was coming more from like Native Americans, like they did something to them. They did so they said every man, and this is just me, I might be absolutely off right now, but I just felt something very profoundly nefarious happen to certain tribes. Therefore, they were having those men later on passing away from the strangest things, JC, and women kept going. So there is a book that is actually titled Strong Women, Wild Horses. And that book, great title, like amazing title. That book describes the story of those women who sustained the livelihood on this island with slavery, with ending of slavery, all of this. It's incredible.
You're right about that. I think you're right about that, about the curse. There must be, because, and that the age of 42 or early 40s or whatever, that's very interesting that they would be just unusual deaths. Oh, wow. And then we've got this, I mean, how old was John when he went missing? You know, was he 39, I think? Is he born 19?
You know, I don't remember his age, but I think in late 30s, or like
39,
mid late 30s,
yeah. So this is also incredible, and so many stories that we could talk about. Did you want to show the photographs now?
And I will actually, so before, like, you can show, and I will tell you now that this church, so let's say you come with the ferry on the bottom of the island, let's say, and then you have to drive. Oh, this is actually St. Mary's. So this is still the place from which you take the ferry. This is not the island yet.
I'm going in the order of what you gave me. So let me.
Yeah. This is the place. So in order to get to the island, you have to take a ferry from this little town. And let's see. Yeah, this is the landscape. So you see, it's really low country. This is the dock. Yep, the dock. And
wow, so it's really like.
Yeah, it's like real. It's like, nothing fancy schmancy.
Would they have taken like a little boat like this onto the island? I mean, like to get
they actually, you know what? They took something slightly bigger than this, and more modern than that. There's a statue of Saint Mary, and this is not about religion, everyone. This is about the energy of Saint Mary.
This brings me to some theories that I have. So this is amazing. Okay, look, I mean, look at that. That this is it's just the.
But JC, you know what? I didn't tell you this before. Oh, wow. On the bottom, where she's standing, it looks like little stones. Those are not little stones. No. Those are all shells. Shells.
Wow.
It's all shells. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. I'm wondering if there's 12 around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, there's not. But this is supposed to be like a rosary, obviously. It's all.
It's a very good energy direction.
There we go.
Okay. And now, I just learned this from this documentary, which I didn't know before, but I want to share that Carolyn was actually one of the most, how you say this in English? Like she contributed a lot in the process of creating the George magazine because of her connections in the fashion world. And it happened to be that actually I really worked for very high-end brands. So I kind of know what kind of work she was doing. I wasn't doing this work like she did, but I know what was at stake, and she was dealing with all the A-listers and like top celebrities and all of that. But because of that, she knew the stylists, she knew the photographers, she knew all of those designers. And when he was creating the magazine, she was giving him a lot of feedback and a lot of connections with those people. So I didn't know that, but I think it's great. It's that they connected on another level too because of this,
Yeah. So she wasn't just a pretty face. She definitely knew what she was talking about. It was so elegant. This is photos from the wedding, their wedding.
This is the picture from the very wedding that is actually from the footage that was very recently released from the VCR recording camera that his best friend was in charge of. He gave him the camera, Junior, and he said, "You're gonna roll this movie." So he was recording this. And I have a whole story how this wedding unfolded, because it wasn't as easy as people think at all. Not because of paparazzi, but because of other logistics and the climate there and the preparation.
And the church itself has got no lighting, right?
Okay, yeah. So this is the afterwards. But JC, the church, okay, first of all, the story goes like this.
Yeah.
The wedding's supposed to be at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone gathered. They all actually went there in the pickup trucks, imagine, in the heat like crazy, the humid weather, with with the suits and ties and all of this. So they gave them, insane. They gave them those fans to wave, but it didn't do anything. So, okay, they are at the church. Church literally has zero air conditioning, zero lighting, nothing at all. So they are waiting and they are waiting. They are waiting 2 hours. Finally, Junior shows up. And the reason he was late was because he was looking for the cufflinks of his father. And he couldn't find them, and he really wanted to wear those cufflinks. So this is the story that the tour guide said. I think it was so beautiful because.
Did she know? Did she meet them? Did the people on the island? Did you meet anyone that met them on that wedding day?
I met someone someone who was actually there, who actually collected the flowers after that, and still has the dry flowers in her place. I mean, it's amazing.
I would do. Oh wow. I mean, look, no wonder why Carolyn's wearing a dress like this.
But wait, this is not the, so okay, John is there, okay, everyone is there, John is there, and then in this documentary they showed like he actually brought the whole car with Heineken in the ice, so everyone was happy. And they're waiting, okay, JC, 2 more hours. They are waiting. The sun is coming down, the freaking church is dark, like there's no tomorrow. They have no lights, and you know what happened? They found candles somewhere in this church, and they had few candles that they light up those candles, and that's why you can see her. But why she was late? You know why she was late?
Why?
Because it was Narcisco Rodriguez. It's a fashion designer, okay? He used to design for Calvin Klein. I know, like, people doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, because in that time he was not known, and she predicted that he will be very, very successful in fashion and in the design. And he designed this very simple dress that she was wearing, not Calvin Klein, but Narcisco Rodriguez. But it was so hot and humid that she could not put it on. So her friend had to wrap up a silk scarf all around her body and head, so she could slide on the dress, because it was sticking everywhere.
Wow. I was just thinking, wow. That's wow.
I mean,
I can only
that's why
imagine.
she was late. But she showed up. She showed up.
Holy Moses. Of course she did. She was marrying her love of her life. Her twin. Look at this. So gorgeous.
But you know what paparazzi did, JC? You know what they did?
Yeah.
After the wedding, this very picture that you're looking at, they actually created this story because she couldn't stand that attention, right? So they removed this happy picture. This is the real picture, like this was the moment. And instead of her smiling, they put another picture that she was miserable and never happy in that marriage.
Yeah, this is the stories that they create, you know. Yeah, absolutely. Like when I do a video and I'm doing this and I'm going da da da, and people going, she's the devil, she's doing 666. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So beautiful.
But you know that she didn't say yes right away. It took her 3 weeks to say yes when he proposed.
Wow. She was trying to, yeah, look at that.
But when I actually watched this documentary, and after I watched this, this is, you see the candlelight?
Yep,
you see the candlelight.
How stunning is that photograph?
Yes.
I just love it.
It's
and
so,
you went
so
here,
special.
so I want to get through. We've got so
special.
many photographs.
I do.
This is the famous photo.
You.
This is the famous photo. Wow, they did it. Yep. And this is the stunning dress that she finally got into.
Yeah, she barely got into it because of the heat. But you know what? This was the only photograph they actually released to the press.
That's right.
It's so beautiful.
I have a feeling
it's such a moment.
I have a feeling that magazine I've got more than likely would have that photograph in it. This is stunning. I mean, look at this. Gorgeous.
So special. It's like literally.
Can I just say, I mean, she was like the it girl, you know, for that time.
Yep.
The reason why I need to get my eyebrows tattooed is because back then we plucked our eyebrows to death. You know, and some can grow back. So yeah, so this is, you know, you can see that with her. She's got the very thin, trendy eyebrows. Okay, so I skipped over that. Did you want me to go back to that photograph?
No, it's good because we are getting to the now driveway and then we're getting to the church. So this is the sign you see when you come out of the
tropical. It looks like a jungle. It looks like a jungle.
Yeah, it is like a jungle.
This is what I imagine. I imagine like this primordial kind of, you know, land to look like. You did feel like it was untouched and like preserved.
Absolutely, absolutely untouched. I mean, there were certain
Look at
spots
that.
and
Look at
certain
that.
places.
This
This
stuff.
is the first, this is the first thing I saw, and I felt that energy. I was like, wow, the energy.
Yeah. There's got to be a portal on that island. I'm telling you, there's a portal.
It's got to be, no? Yeah, it's got to be. I think maybe even few, JC, few portals.
Yes, it's just so.
So this is the only main road, If you have traffic, I mean, traffic is like, literally, we had few cars, and Judy said, this is unbelievable. We have cars today, you know?
I can't believe, well, how did they go during did they have a lockdown? I mean, they wouldn't have. Like, what is that? What is that, a lockdown?
No, like I mean, listen, they are so remote, but the craziest thing, for almost entire year, of course, the ferry was not going there at all. This is the Grand Avenue, JC. This is this main road that takes you pretty much everywhere. Yeah. And the church is on the north.
Crazy horses.
And when you go, wild horses, crazy horses. Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
they're so special, those horses.
Look at
I love them.
In Australia, we call them brumbies, the wild horses. Brumbies. We've got a lot of they call them feral horses. We've got more camels in Australia than the entire Middle East. I'm pretty sure of it. Because they went, no shit, like up in Northern Territory and some parts of the desert, that there was some camels that got loose and they went wild, and there's a whole heap of wild camels in Australia, and horses, and there's a lot of other feral animals as well. It's pretty crazy. But let's keep moving on.
Because you have so many climates within Australia.
Yes. It's a huge continent. It's bigger than Europe. So
right.
Of course. I love it when people say to me, I can't believe it snows in Australia. I'm like, well, that's like saying if someone's in, I don't know, someone lives in Sweden and you say, I can't believe it snows in Italy or something, or Greece or something like that.
I was one of those people when you told me it's snowing. I was one of those people.
There's so many different places. I'm in the mountains. Of course it's going to snow. Yeah. All right. Look at these gorgeous horses. So you can't even get that close like that. That's it. It could come up to you and buck you. Look at that. It's just so, no wonder why they wanted to come here. I mean, it's just so remote. Oh, wow. Look at that.
This is no filter, honestly, JC. I just get out of the car and I said, can I please, because she stopped on the bridge, this little bridge, and I said, I have to get out. So I get out and I took the picture and I said, oh my goodness, this is like no filter. That's how it looks.
I'm going to run away there after all this shit.
Me too. Let's go.
At the humidity, kind of my hair would be like out here. Let's have a look. Oh wow!
But this beach, it's the church. But I tell you about the beach.
Yep.
When I stood this is like on the top of the
bridge,
not mountain, but the hill, right? And then you look down and you see this beach. Because for me in life, like the longer I live, the more I value peace and tranquility and silence. That silence there was so precious. It wasn't like empty silence. It was just so
nature.
And grounding. It was, I mean, just to be in a place where there's no other sound except some water and maybe a few birds. That's about it.
Did you stay on the island or no? I can't remember where.
No, because the only hotel is that one.
That really expensive.
That is outrageously expensive, and I didn't.
So I was going to say, did you have a peaceful night's sleep? But obviously you didn't get to.
Oh no. Okay, so
here's the chapel.
Here is the church.
Wow.
Now. Okay, so the first thing, because now you see this, I took pictures from like all different sides. Yeah, but like now you don't see how tiny, because it's like main focus is church. But when there will be other pictures, this is from the inside. So I tell you what is there. First of all, inside the church, everything looks pretty much exactly the way it was when they got married. The windows are still painted white. The cross on the altar, this is the size. It's very, very tiny. You see, this is me sitting, so you can see the proportion. It's so small. It's so humble. Like it literally melts your heart. When you think about it, that this was the most famous man in the world. Like Diana was the most famous woman in the time. He was the most known, recognized man on the planet. And he chosen the most humble place to get married. You know, it really shows you the character of the man. It really does.
Yeah.
It's incredibly humble place, JC. You see this?
Yeah. Look at that.
This is exactly the same cross, like when they were getting married. There's everything the same.
It just shows, it does, that instead of pomp and ceremony and over the top kind of focus, because, you know, there's been a lot of celebrities who they wanted a private wedding, but they still did the big, you know, big party. And they just didn't want that. And I know a lot of people went on about Carolyn not wanting attention, but you could understand why, because she knew the industry, she knew the falsity of it, she knew how, you know, attention. I've said it before, hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people knowing one person is not natural. It's not natural without this technology. It's not natural to have that much attention on you. It's not a natural human thing. We're not meant to have thousands and thousands of people focusing on.
No, it's actually it's abnormal. It's not normal.
No. So show me what is this place?
So this is different place, but I want to say before I forget that none of those guests knew where they are going until the very last moment.
Wow. I hope they told them it's kind of hot where we're going. So, you know, don't wear much.
They had no idea. They actually flew with this private plane first to Jacksonville in Florida. And from there, how did they get there? I think they took a boat. No, they drove. I forgot. They took a boat and then they took the ferry. So until in the middle of the night, because of course they arrived to Cumberland Island and at night, like it's dark, like they don't see anything. And then they took them to Greyfield Inn and they stay in that place.
Wow. So all of this had to be like top secret and
Yep.
I just think that's crazy. That's amazing.
And one more thing. So because they had very strict policy about privacy and about not allowing anyone to sneak in, so they gave the guests and those like the chef who was preparing the food and this gentleman who was singing at the wedding, Amazing Grace, by their request, they gave them like a ticket that would be the sign that they are okay. So it was like a ticket and there were 2 coins on it, a penny and like an Indian quarter, you know, like a quarter. Yeah. And if anyone caught you on the property and asked, and they said you have to carry this on you all the time, wherever you go, have this on you, because if the security stops and they check and you don't have those 2 coins on this little card, out.
I love it. Oh, that's great. Ooh, I wonder what this is all very. I feel like there's significance in all of this. Interesting. Talk about.
So this is a different place. It was closed, JC. It's called Plum Orchard. Am I pronouncing this?
I think I saw it on the map. I think I saw Plum Orchard on the map.
Yes, and this one is like
let me get the map and I'll just
it's almost like in the middle, JC.
Yeah. Hang on a second.
I feel like we are traveling together now.
Yeah, I know. See, this is just I'm talking a lot. So hang on. There's Plum Orchard. Where did I see that? So where's the on
a
this
little bit up, up.
Okay.
And then it's on the west
Oh,
side.
there it is. Yeah, I did
up
see it.
there.
There it is, Plum Orchard.
There it is.
So
Yep.
where is the church in relation to Plum Orchard?
North. Go
Ah,
up. Go
okay.
up.
Yeah. I might.
And you see there the first African Baptist church right there.
Oh, right. Wow. So we go all the way up here. So they would have traveled from the ferry, would have taken them from St. Mary's up to here. Can you see my cursor where I'm taking it?
Yes. And then they had to drive.
And then they drive.
You see,
up.
Stop. JC, stop. Look on the left.
What?
Look. Greyfields, you see? This
Yeah.
oh yeah, this
That's
is
the hotel. All right. Greyfield is the hotel. And they did stay there, right? And
Yes.
all the guests stayed there, right?
Yes, everyone stayed there. Yeah.
And then they had to all go up this main road all the way up to church, which is, we go past Plum Orchard. And look at this is all swamp, right? This is all swampy area.
Yep.
I wonder how the mosquitoes were. Okay. And then you've got the first African
church.
Wow. Ooh, okay. So, so now we're going to Plum Orchard, right? So I'm gonna go back to the photographs. And
I'm back.
You're back, and I am too. Right, let's have a look. So we've got this now. This is so we see these sort of architecture regularly in all these places that seem remote. Do you think? And I've been talking about mud floods and stuff, but do you think the settlers actually built this? Did they build it? Yes, they must have. No?
You know what? This was like Gregorian style, actually.
Georgian, you mean?
Georgian. Sorry, yes,
yeah.
Georgian.
Well, that was around the time of mud floods. This is why I'm asking. Just
yeah. Well, I don't know, really. I tell you, I'm watching the documentary you posted on your channel in parts because there's so much to absorb, and it's absolutely mind-blowing, but it's important to watch it. It's important.
It is. It's important to watch it. That's why I shared it. I'm dubious about everything these days, you see. I'm just very so this is this is June, the middle of summer, and you're here, and they got married in September, you said? So it would have been cooler than what?
Not really.
No?
Not really.
Okay.
I asked the same question. I'm like, it shouldn't be better, right? And she's like, no.
Does it ever get kind of cool there in winter? I wonder.
Kind of fresher.
This reminds me of like when you show me these photographs of like when you went to Savannah in and just
the oak trees that are approximately 300 years old. Yeah, oak trees with this. So
it's a lichen.
They call it
a type
Spanish,
of like. It's a Spanish
moss.
Okay.
But someone told me actually I was in another place and it was very professional guide in that gardens, and I forgot how he explained that this is actually not Spanish moss.
No, it's lichen. It's lichen. Lichen is a mixture between algae and a fungi, I think. If I can remember back to biology. So it's not a plant. So it's like a fungi that has chlorophyll. Does that make sense? So it uses chlorophyll. And and we got them here. We get a lot of, I think it's lichen. It's got to be a lichen. Okay, so anyway, we get them all over the trees here, and some of them have different formations that they almost look like ferns, and they're kind of furry looking. And I can't remember. Yeah, that looks like it, but that looks like it's gone wild. This lichen. I think that might be it. I think that maybe I'm wrong, but look at it. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like a plant on its own.
Do you see me? This is me, the little me there. The
white
spot. This is the size of me next to the tree.
Oh, that tree. I want to sleep in that tree.
I love this beautiful tree. It was magnificent. And the shadows, right, JC? The shadows from the branches.
Yeah. But when you were there, like, because I talk about how the tree is connected to truth and its true nature, and you're looking at an untouched wilderness essentially on this island for the most part, aside from a few things. How do you feel when you're there? How do you, I mean, I could see the majesty while you know, looking at these trees, and I can see the magic that is there. But how do you feel when you're sitting there under that tree? What did you feel? Did you feel an energy? Did you feel a voice? Did you feel anything? Can you describe it?
Yeah, you know, well, first of all, I am a loner, so I separated myself. Every time we stopped somewhere, I was just going on my own, doing my own thing. And I went from this tree, I went to another spot there that had those trees all around, and I was like in the middle of it, and they were around me, above me, everywhere. And I stood there, and you know, I was trying to do like live short stories on Instagram to capture this in the very moment and present this energy to people, even if there were moments with reception, but it took forever, right? And I stood there and I said, guys, the energy here, it's undescribable. There was so much soul in those trees, JC, so much soul. You literally felt, you know, you felt like you're embraced by family of different kinds.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like they're alive, you know, just themselves. They are alive as they are, you know. Yeah, this is the thing that people, they don't, you know, when I say I talk to trees, and it's only a recent thing, you know. It's not like I mean, actually, having thought about it, as a kid, I would climb my tree. I had a tree, and I would climb this tree every day, and I would sit in it, in the branches, every single day. And I remember when I stopped doing that, and I was a different person. It was when I became a teenager. I was just very different, and I got stuck into my studies, and I didn't go out in nature anymore. But I used to sleep in this tree every day, and so yeah, we lose that. But when we return to that, you can't say it's crazy anymore, because they are, you know, they are feeling, being.
But JC, can I tell you something now?
Yeah.
Okay. Two things. Actually, just like how could I forget to say this? Okay. First, about trees, because in one of your latest videos, when you mentioned that they are the only link
to the outside,
to the outside, and they are here to help us.
They are.
And when I heard this, it's so touching. First of all, it's so touching, so moving. But the other thing, when you look at those trees and you think they were there for 300 years, generation after generation after generation. Life was going on, people were dying, being born, and on. And that tree stood there in storm and rain and whatever was happening.
Witnessed everything.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, but one more thing, because how can I forget one of the most important things what happened to me there? So when I stood at the front of this little church, and you know, I actually sent you the video later, but I was thinking about you, and I was thinking, like, you know, it's a shame we cannot do live from there because of internet. Literally at this church was zero internet, okay? Like you don't have it. And I faced this church and I stood there. All the people left somewhere else. I was by myself, and I heard a sentence, one sentence, because I focused my intention on him. I'm like, so this is where you were, right? Like I never really was like crazy about him, or I never was like, you know, people were obsessed. I was just acknowledging. And I stood at this church and I heard, I will be back. I mean, I just heard this, like, I will be back. And it came from the right side, like this. I don't know, it sounds weird too. I don't know if it just sounds weird, but that's how I experience. It came from the right side of me, like almost from the forest in a way. And I heard, I will be back. And I received another thing about John. When I was there, before I left, I had absolute certainty in my spirit that he has visited this place twice after he was gone.
Oh. I wonder if that. Wow. Interesting. I wonder. I was going to say. I wonder if it's kind of like it's the last place people would look for him because it's so obvious. You know.
I might be wrong, JC, but I just felt it. I felt like this was not the last time he was there for that wedding.
Yeah. That
actually he has been there since, and I'm talking since the accident.
Yeah.
That's good. Good chills, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
What did I told you before we recorded that my friend woke up, messaged me. I had not told her that I'm doing this at all. And I woke up early. It's early for me. It's morning here, and it's nighttime for you. And I look at my phone and she's saying, "Good morning, beautiful. I had this crazy dream that you were interviewing RFK Jr." And I went, "I'm actually doing an interview with Anya K and we're talking about JFK Jr. today." She goes, "I can feel him. I woke up feeling that he's coming back. He's coming back." And I was just like, "Oh, okay. So this is," and she's very psychic. So I was just like, this is all, this is all a sign that he's here. And then before we started recording, I just had this feeling like, explain this. It was like this feeling like you got to have these special crystals in you to represent, like in honor of them. And I had all these special crystals I picked up. Like I got my Merkaba, my 2 Merkaba crystals, which, the Merkaba is the divine feminine and divine masculine. And when I've got 2, I always think of it as twin flames. I don't know why. I got my Larimar. I think this is called Coral Larimar, but I'm not sure. And that's got I don't really know what it does, but it's a heart-shaped one, and it's a very unique, special piece. And again, I don't know, I just still think there's something about Atlantis thing connected here. I believe Atlantis is not inside this realm, in this dome. Okay, I think the real Atlantis is out there, but I think that there's some kind of, because it's a replication. I just think that our world is a simulation and it's a replication of the real world. I just feel like when you talked about this, it felt like this is what it would look like. I don't know. And then I got my beautiful, this again, here we go. It's like a twin pairing.
Wow.
This is Arkansas quartz, and I got given that for my birthday. This beautiful lady, I love it. Lisa. And then I've got this one, which is, you've got one too.
You know what, actually, can I say, because it was, you inspired me watching you. Like, I always remember you were holding those crystal balls, and I went to one store and I said, "Oh my goodness, this is like
selenite."
Yeah, I love selenite.
It's so feminine. It's so beautiful.
I love it.
And I do have, and one more. This is my green opal, which is it's a very special.
Wow.
This is A grade. This is A grade. This is green opal, and it's very special. And this is family, like reunions and uniting families together, and it's very good for couples and relationships and things like that. So I just felt like I had to do this, and I was wearing black when we started, and then I thought, I'm going to wear white. quickly changed my top so that we're both wearing white in honor of this beautiful video that we're doing. So let's keep
going.
Come
on, everyone. Doesn't matter what JC wears, she always looks amazing, right? End of story.
And I'm wearing pajamas on the bottom, so that's I like a newsreader, they're not wearing anything underneath. Yeah. So let's keep going because we've got a lot of photographs to get through. And
okay, so this was this actually was built by Carnegie's JC. It was, what was the name? The Dungeoning. That how you pronounce it? Wait 1 second with my English. It's actually called after the very place that exists in United Kingdom, Dungeons.
Oh, so okay. So it's are you sure it's not Scottish?
No,
I
actually,
saw it on the map. Yeah.
Carnegie's built it, I think. And what happened to this place? It was like a playground. You know, they were going there for like vacations and
Look
fun.
at this.
But they burned. No, I think someone set it on fire.
Ah.
I think 1958, 6, something like that.
Ooh, someone
In
set it
20th
on
century.
fire. Ooh.
Yeah, someone set on fire. And you know what? And they decided not to rebuild it. I just wonder why.
Maybe cursed. So what about the people on the island? Because I've been in some remote places on tours and stuff, and they all they have their stories. They're kind of like the gatekeepers of the place, and they tell the tourists particular stories. But what was the feeling you got about them, the people on the
Very, very protective of the place. And the thing with this island is you cannot buy property, you cannot buy any land. Whoever owns it, end of story. So if someone passes away and they decide to sell it to national park or gift it, that's how the national park gets it. But so some land is still owned by those, I think, Fergusons or those families that like those who actually had the most wealth.
Right.
So it goes generation on generation, and then sometimes they give like a portion of it to national parks. The wild horses, JC, are around it, literally walking around it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So no one actually
can buy house there. No, you cannot move there, people. You cannot. I was thinking, I'm like,
maybe if we got connections to John, we can come on. But but then the humidity kind of turns me off, so I'm not going to say anything. So you started in St. Mary's, right? And had this thing. Did I tell you about this last night about the Merovingians? I did.
Yeah, but please. Yeah. But please.
What?
Say it.
Should I say it? Okay. I've just been having, because I had this massive download about a month ago, about 6 weeks ago or so. And I felt this, I mean, I'm sure other people have come to this conclusion that there seems to be people inside this simulation that we live in that have a particular signature that is very, very special. And their souls come from somewhere else, okay? And some of us have been sent in here. Many of us call it light workers or star seeds, etc. But there's some that are more prominent than others. And there seems to be a particular signature with that soul in this 3D world that may have had, for example, reincarnations in this physical avatar, might have been reincarnated several times in certain family lines, etc. And you and I sort of have come to the conclusion that John and Diana seem to have a connection. It's not just like they were friends or whatever, but there seems to be some kind of very special thing going on there. And I suspect that the reason why the focus by a lot of the Q people on him is not just like this second coming of Christ or whatever, but there seems to be, it seems as though someone in the know put the word out about certain people like Diana, like JFK Jr.
The bloodline.
Yeah, because I suspect that this is the reason why the Cabal were, first of all, trying to bring them into their net and also, and to maybe use them in some way, and to also try to get rid of them in some way. And they knew about it, and that's why they had to foil their plans. And this is why it's all coming out now, because slowly all these truths are revealed. Now, I had this very unusual email sent to me. Oh, someone's telling me don't say it.
Okay. Don't.
No, but all right, I won't talk about the email. I'll just talk about my theory about what this might be, why the Kabbalah. So I was talking to you about that. I found out through a friend who is Jewish, and she knows about the Kabbalah and everything. And she was talking about my the download I got about the Vatican recently that I did the automatic writing about.
Yeah.
And how I said, now I didn't know this consciously, but it came through in the automatic writing that there were 3 families that formed a tribe in Judea and she said this is correct. It's the three families, and they've proven it, that there's these 3 families that formed this particular tribe of Jews. But I also know about a family that got cast out. Now they mention them in the Bible, it begins with M, and I can't remember the tribe. I can't remember what the tribe was called, but they were in the Bible, it said something about, in the Old Testament, it says something about that God banished these people because they were evil. They had started to do black magic. They were sacrificing children, etc. And so because they were this abomination, he ordered the other Israelites or the Jews to get rid of them, that family, because they were so dark and evil. But some of them survived. Now, those that survived are the ones that have now created the cabal, essentially, and they're these elite families, such as the DuPonts, and they trace their families to them, and like what's her name, Vanderbilt, all of that. Okay, so they all trace, and who is connected to her son? Yeah, Gloria Vanderbilt's son is, what's his name?
Anderson
Cooper. Okay, so you see how this happened. It was like there was this dark family. They're not Jews. They're Satanists, basically. They were, and they've basically survived from Middle East, okay, and then they've gone and to all these other countries, Germany, etc., and then they've pretended to be like, nah, we're just normal, but they're actually practicing black magic. Now, add to that, there's a lot of these Sabbatean sect or cult that was in the Jews. There was this particular rabbi who started doing this black magic stuff. So you've got all these little cults and covens going on. And no, you wouldn't know that these people are doing this, okay? But then you've got this other line of families that I believe are connected to the Merovingians. And the Merovingians are the offspring of Jesus or Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. Now, according to Dolores Cannon, who, she did so many past life regressions on all these people and gathered all this information. And she wrote, I've got to reveal this, man. So she wrote a book about Jesus and the Essenes. Now, she called him Jesus, but as you know, the real name would be Yeshua, okay? And after his death, so what she gathered from all of these people that lived these past lives was that Jesus, after his death, they were going to kill his family, right? They wanted to kill his uncle, who was Joseph of Arimathea, who was like so rich. This guy was like a Rockefeller. I mean, he was so wealthy. This is how Jesus, as a kid, got to learn all these different cultures and Buddhism and all of these different things and take it on board, and then come up with his own ideas about love and how, church was, going to temple wasn't important. It was like just being with people and discussing, how to respect one another, etc. So anyway, Joseph of Arimathea, Mary, his mother, and Mary Magdalene, who, we suspect it wasn't written, but it was, there was a relationship with them, or a marriage. And then I can't remember who else was in the boat, but they basically wanted to kill them, but they said, right, we'll let the sea take care of them. We'll put them on this boat and we'll just send them out to sea. Now, miraculously, they survived. There was no oars or anything on this boat, but they were sent out to sea. And the story goes that this boat landed on the shores of France. And
Marseille.
And that shore, to this day, there is the Romani gypsies still celebrate this particular day of the arrival of the Three Marys, and they call it the Three Marys, okay? And they do a whole ceremony around this, and there's this cave where they stayed, apparently, when they first got on land. They had a little a maid with them named Sarah, and she went off to get help when they first arrived on land. So this was the story of how they spread Christianity, but back then they didn't call it that. And they ended up getting a boat. Joseph of Arimathea managed to get a boat when they got to France, etc. And they decided to start spreading these churches in different locations. One was also in Glastonbury, which is one of the first churches, because Jesus used to go and visit there with his uncle Joseph of Arimathea. They had the tin mines, etc., because his uncle was very wealthy with mining and all these different things. So and he met the Druids. Jesus would have met with the Druids and learned a lot. And they weren't savages. They were very, very, they had their own university and everything. So this is where, and the Roslyn Chapel and all of that, this was all where it started. But that line is called the Merovingian bloodline. And this is, some people, I believe, because don't forget, they went to England, they went to France, they went to all these different locations, and they would have spread that bloodline in different areas. I think maybe
for sure. Maybe for sure
that these two special people, Diana Spencer, her bloodline, and possibly the Kennedys, have the Merovingian line. Now, guess who else does? King Arthur was, I believe, this came to me the other day. Was it the 11th king of the Essenes? So Jesus was an Essene, and I'm wondering if that's therefore a Merovingian line, if that's King Arthur. People have tried to make him out to be a
but JC, but in Essenes, I don't think there was a hierarchy in Essenes.
Hierarchy? No, I don't think so. But for some,
no, they didn't have that.
But for some reason that came through. That I read that somewhere about the Essenes, and I was like, "What, King Arthur? What? Why is King Arthur and he's English? And what was that got to do with the Middle East and all of that?" But there seems to be a link to the King Arthur and that line of people, and then that takes us to the Kennedys being called, like when John F. Kennedy was in power. What did they call that era? They called it Camelot.
Yeah, and that's, you know what, actually that I always wondered why they called it like this.
I know, and there's going to be a theory out there, or there's going to be a story of, it was called Camelot because of this. Okay, but maybe that's the cover story, and the real story is that there seems to be a connection to King Arthur's tale, etc. Now, people call it a mythical tale. They try to make these stories myths. They've done this to us over and over again. This is why I question everything.
Yes.
Okay, because they've done this to us over and over again. Oh, that's just a myth. Oh, that's not real. But the dinosaurs are real, and So do you understand? They try to retell because the people in charge of the world are going to be in charge of the history of the world, and they're going to change the stories. But the stories are sometimes hidden in plain sight. The other theory I have is that Camelot is not here, 5D. It's like it's somewhere else. It's not here. And so everyone's looking for these artifacts. But don't forget, this is a simulation. And a lot
it's a reflection. It's like a reflection.
Yeah. It's like, yes, exactly. Yes. That's exactly right. It's like a simulation, or
like a mirror. It's like a mirror. It's like a mirror.
There's a more pristine version out there, and then
the real one.
The real one. That's why we see these artifacts and we're like, hey, where did this come from? Because we brought it in here to remind us, hey, you come from out there. You don't come from in here. You come from out there. And I think that the real Camelot, this real mythical place, is out there. And I think because John made it out, he is. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
So
maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there's a whole bunch of bad guys watching this video right now going, we know where he is. So I've got to shut up.
But you know what? I have to tell you this, that, okay, there's so much.
Mm-hmm.
When you, because the way you receive your messages,
Mm-hmm.
It's unlike anyone I ever came across. And there is this sense of like instant resonance for me. Like it just resonates like right away. Okay. Like I don't need like to think about it, ponder, like it's there or it's not. And I just feel. And when you were talking about Junior, after that Antarctica video, right?
Yeah.
And I remember it was like right after, for me, I experienced Diana again. Like I said, I never had this thing. I received the download. What happened to
I
her
never had
in
it.
Reach.
I never thought about Joe.
Right?
Yeah. It just came.
Right. And
yeah.
But when you received that, I felt like this is it. This is it. All right. But yesterday, when I came back, well, first of all, when I was on this island, JC, I really felt them. There was something lingering. This church is magical. And I know you, like, it's easy to say, oh, magical because they got married there. Yes, but there are many buildings where people got married. And you know they did get married, but you don't feel energy like those places. And I was there, I'm like, I feel this. It was a warm, good feeling. Very like soothing, nothing creepy, nothing sad, no sadness, none of this. And I watched this documentary yesterday and I'm thinking because they were talking like he was so forgetful and, you know, his mind was always somewhere, like he wasn't like forgetting things, even made a toast, you know, the reception. And he said that she will be his wife on Sunday and everyone, Saturday, like he,
because he was so in love.
Yeah, but he was forgetful, like in life. Like his friend said, he forgot the blue blazer for the wedding. That was the only requirement. John, bring the freaking blue blazer. You know what I want to ask you, JC, how do you feel about this? Because now I think the man is brilliant, but if he was so forgetful, I mean, because now we have this image, this was someone in real life who was kind of like sloppy, like Caroline kind of put him together in a way, like, you know.
Yeah.
This man, if he's pulling, is part of this really major scenario taking place and working with the Galactic Federation, okay, which I believe is the case. So he's helping us, not necessarily from this realm always, right?
Yeah, I agree.
How you feel this? How you feel this for someone whose personality was kind of like, you know, and then he's in this role right now, because this is such a serious responsibility. What
I've often seen with people that have you know, this forgetfulness or this air of forgetfulness. Don't forget, he was a lawyer. Okay, so he studied and he was very brilliant. So his mind had a lot of other stuff in it. That, you know, that's where his mind was. It's full of information. And you know, maybe just 3D life is not that important. You know, it's like, okay, dealing with information up here in my head is very cerebral. It's not necessarily about the practical stuff, you know, it's about all the other stuff. And don't forget, a lot of time has passed. And with that comes an evolution. And, you know, even for me, like in 9 months, I've changed so dramatically in myself and the stuff that I'm capable of. And I've unlocked a lot of things for myself that I had hidden for a long time, or I had repressed, or I had not used. So change can happen very dramatically. What comes into play for me, these are just theories, and I believe, and a lot of people would say, well, how do you know that he's alive? How do you know? There's a lot of people who've done the research, and they've saying that things just don't add up. This was a Catholic family. They don't do cremation, and yet straight after they went and cremated their remains, like it just didn't make sense that they would do that, right? There's a lot of stuff that didn't add up with their death.
With the plane, with the flight, with everything, with the weather condition, all of this.
So if they are alive, and a lot of us are saying, now we were talking about, because it was funny, I was about to go to bed and it was really late because I had to get up early to do this. And as I was talking to you or texting you, I got an email from a lady and she said, JC, I went to the rally and is this John? And she showed me this image. Maybe I can bring it up. Let me see if I've got it here. Give me a second. There we are. What I might do, because I want to show the image without showing my emails. Screen share. There we go. Okay. So that's not him. Okay, so somebody asked JFK Jr. at Trump rally, right? And they took a shot. Now there's a guy. Now you had a theory. I was too sleepy to go have a look at it, but I when I woke up, I saw it, and then I saw that you'd written me a response because I asked, "What did you see?" before I went to bed. But I glanced at it quickly, and I went, "That's not him." Okay, and you said the same thing, but you said you believe that this guy was placed here as a double to kind of make a stir. So this sort of stuff, they put them out there. My whole point in saying this is they've been putting these little things out there.
Yes.
Just like the famous interview with RFK, his cousin, RFK Jr., and somebody in the chat said, is JFK Jr. alive, Robert? Touch your nose if it's true. And Robert went in the interview.
Yes.
He scratched his nose and then he kind of smiled and kept going on with the interview. These little things, they're doing this on purpose because they're kind of building up this thing. Now, why do you think they're doing this? This is my theory. And this is what I've come to feel more and more and more, okay? Okay, so why do we treat him like he's like the second coming of Christ, okay? You know, it's like back from the dead and all of that. And why have we elevated him to this? Why have we elevated him to like a savior? And same with Diana. Why have we done this? Then there's a reason behind this. And I feel that there's layers of, I think that number 77 video, which I haven't watched in so long, but I know there's secrets in there. That's the reason why it was taken down from YouTube. And then a couple of months later, I went, I'm going to put it back up again. And I put it back up again and they didn't take it down. And I'm like, if there really was AI, you know, sort of picking up on words there, it would have taken it down again, and it didn't. It was taken down to draw attention to it, to say, look at this. Okay, this is important. And then it got taken down. But then I got like a go ahead to put it back up again. So I put that number 77 back up, and in there, he's in a ship, and I'm saying, is this Antarctica? Where am I? What is this? And he's showing the ship, and he's like, and I start crying because I'm like, I've been in this ship before. What's he talking about with the ships? What's one of the first things that I saw when he came to me in these meditations? Because I didn't believe it. I was like, what the hell? Why am I don't even know what are you? Is this real? Is this a psyop? What is this? It's showing us. He showed me Diana in a med bed. I'm not kidding. Okay. Now here's the theory. You do the work and you're at the right frequency. You get out of here. Okay. And you take your physical body with you. You're not going to leave a dead body. Take your physical body with you. I think the med beds are a clue to how you get there, because I think that it's something that you've got to get your frequency changed. And I think what it does is it adjusts our frequency to a crystalline frequency out of this carbon-based reality. to be able to withstand and to go into the new earth or the true earth. Let's just say the true earth, okay? I don't know how that happens, how we get out of here. But what I feel is that there is some kind of technology that allows us to adjust our physical bodies to a crystalline frequency. And I think that's how they got out of here. And I think that this is why that's one of the things they showed me on that ship. He showed me Diane. I was like, hey, is Prince here? What's going on? I was like, is Prince here? Is Michael Jackson here? Because they were given that technology to be able to do that. And I think that he's part of a team, and this is why they keep hinting he's coming back, he's coming back, he's coming, because it's kind of like showing you this hope of that even in death, like this 3D death of this old life, getting away from the cabal, you can get out of here, and that there is technology that's allowing this other dimensional communication to occur, because that's where I think this is coming from. I think there is ships, but everyone I know who's tapped in seems to be sensing there is these ships going on. We've got people on YouTube like Gina Maria Colvin Hill exploring the skies, just staring at the skies and looking at all the anomalies in the sky. And she's like, there's things pixelating, there's ships, there's this and that. It's all cloaked, but because this density doesn't allow us to see things just physically, I think that they're coming, and this is why I'm getting this information, like they're coming. The problem is, because I have hundreds of thousands of people that watch my videos, I have to be careful with the way I say it, because people take things so literally and they don't use their brain. And I'm not saying everyone, just some people are so literal, and they go, so you mean to tell me that the spaceship's coming and they're going to come and get us and we just have to sit back and do nothing? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just putting some thoughts out there that there is something going on now. That's kind of why we're seeing what we're seeing. There's something going on there, and there's clues in all of these things. And the reason why they're saying, JFK Jr. is there, or there's a body double, or there's this, or there's that, or why is Trump okay after he was in a med bed? Why is Melania from Venus? Why is all of these things? Okay, I think there's clues there, and it's kind of telling us of how we ascend. Is what I'm trying to say. All of that stuff, that the great stuff that we're talking about making America great again, for example, of technology, Tesla technology, about all of this stuff, that's all part of 5D. That's all part of a new earth. Reevaluation of the currency, Jasara and Nasara, that's all 5D. That's how we create the new earth. But you can't create it when all you're doing is just staying in this 3D vibration. And those of you who want to get out of here, we need to sort of ascend to these heights of greatness and hope. And that's why I think they gave us that story, not just because he was best friends or very close to Trump, not just because he's a brilliant lawyer and he was struck down in his prime because he had to fake his own death because evil people like Hillary and her gang were trying to get him because they knew it would be the end of them if he was in. All of this plot to, the story of he's just here to take revenge on his father's death, I think that that's not necessarily the full story. And I don't think it's about him in real. People go, is he coming back? Is Diana coming back? Are they good? This would just prove to everyone that it's not how it's going to work. I don't think that's how it's going to work. I think that they're going to work behind the scenes as they continue to do. And I think that we're being shown things through certain people that are able to receive these messages from these other dimensions, and it's being disseminated for a reason in a certain way. That's what I think. I think that's why.
I have to tell you what just came to me when you were saying all of this. I received something. I never thought about it before.
Yeah.
But when you were speaking, JC, literally this came to me right now in this moment. So I was just like, when you were talking, I'm listening, but I'm like holding to it, like I don't want to lose this.
Good. And lose it. Go, tell me.
What if we say Jesus was resurrected. He resurrected himself. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He resurrected himself. Now, let's just open up our minds a little and let's explore two scenarios. He had this capacity from his spirit, connection to God, to the higher self, to the source, to the creator, to the divine love, that he was able to overcome the flesh to such an extent that he resurrected himself, moved that rock. Let's say we agree the story is real. Let's say this. We agree that's the story, okay? Because many things we have to question also. But let's say he left that, he moved the rock, he left that grave of his, and he went on with his life, with the boat, with the Mary, life goes on. One version. What if he resurrected himself with help of Pleiades spaceship?
Oh, yeah.
There is possibility because, it's not like they just started to exist.
Yeah.
Higher evolved civilizations, they don't start to exist from the 20th century, okay?
No.
So, all right.
They were always
so
there.
Let's say he actually, and this is out there, what I'm saying now, but why not to open up our minds and just explore things?
The other thing is, let me just say, is that
let me, because I will lose it. Okay, what if the mad bats were already there and they actually resurrected Jesus? Okay, so now we have Jesus as Yeshua as a figure who lives still in many people's hearts and souls without coming back in physical flesh, however, talking to people, giving downloads, giving messages. Personally, I'm an example, everyone here, okay? I'm not the only one. There are millions of people who talk to Jesus and have a constant communication going on. Yeah. Now, what if Diana and JFK Jr. are the very representation of the possibility for the humankind, what Jesus was in that era? What if they are going to resurrect, in a way that we might maybe never ever seen them, however, they do go on.
They do go on.
I finished.
And 5D is like paradise on earth, which is like this whole thing that it's like heaven. See, I had this theory of like, we always talk about heaven and everyone points up to the sky. Maybe the pointing up to the sky is get us out of here, crack open that thing and get us out of here. That's what the heaven is. It's going, get out of here, out to the dome, out to the paradise. Yeah. Sorry if this is triggering religious people. I mean, not religious people, but non-religious people and atheists. That's the site, by the way, atheism. Okay, so
everyone, I grew up in Poland. You know what Poland is? Christian Catholic country, always involved in the religious wars and stuff like that. I grew up going to church and all of this. I love God creator, the source, the light, but it's not about the church for me anymore. And even, it's not about that.
Even Yeshua said that. It's not about the church.
Exactly.
I remember I had, unfortunately, a childhood where, early on I was, my mother was into like a very fundamentalist church, Christian church, and I was subjected to a lot of like Bible study and stuff from a very young age. And then by about the age of 12, we stopped going, and I felt lost because I was so indoctrinated. And I said to my dad, I don't know what to believe in anymore. What do I do?
Wow.
We don't go to church. Like, what do we? And he said,
why you stopped, JC? Why did you stop? Why?
Not me. I was 12, and it's got to do with my mom. She just decided she was an atheist. She was not doing this anymore because of the control, and she didn't like it. She was brought up Catholic, right? So my dad was very open-minded. He did not get us baptized as babies. He was just like, you've got to choose what you want to be. You got to choose all of this stuff. He said the whole point of Jesus, and this is very Christian, so don't get triggered, people. He just said the whole point of why Jesus came was so that you didn't have to have a church. That was the whole point. He said his whole teachings were get rid of the churches. The whole teachings were you don't need an intermediary between yourself and God. It's just two people discussing things. He said even just two people discussing their spirituality, that is a church. That is loving God. That is loving source and creation. That's what my dad tried to teach me. And as a teenager, I didn't understand that. I still felt I needed that someone to tell me what to do. And that's basically where we're at as a humanity, as a group of people. There's people out there that need the guru. They need someone to tell them what to do. They need someone to instruct them and direct their way. And there's a difference between finding guidance in things and being inspired by that guidance and literally just wanting someone to tell them what to do. And we've got to get out of that. That's one of the things, because the power is within you. And I think that your theory is brilliant, because I think that's exactly what I think this is. I think this is it's an example of, this is why we had to do this video, because this is going to trigger things in people. Okay, it's what they represent, without making them into martyrs, is that they represent the possibility of ascending and leaving this realm, and becoming what we are supposed to be, because what we are now, and what that documentary is that I shared. Actually, he did another documentary that I recommend everybody to watch, which is called What on Earth Happened, and he talks about what happened to the trees and who decimated this earth, and how the mountains are actually trees, and how this is a carbon-based reality, but we don't come from carbon, we come from crystalline. And this carbon-based reality came from this excessive mining of these beings that came in here and took over our planet, our plane of existence, okay? And then they locked it down into this controlled structure. So it is ascension. We talk about it so much, about ascending to another dimension, and it is about taking on this different form. It's crystalline and it's a different frequency, therefore, okay?
Yes.
And it requires a technology. And I know that there are so many people out there having dreams about being on spaceships. They try and call it the secret space program. It's not that. I'm sorry, I hate that word. It's not a secret space program, okay? It is our consciousness in higher dimensions, basically being multidimensional like we are, and having multiple existences and multiple experiences as a multifaceted being. We are each soul's experiencing all of this. And when I get a communication from John, okay, it is essentially a fraction of who he is, okay, and I always feel it's in another higher dimension. To me, I thought it was. Say it now. Fucking hell. I heard, because sometimes I hear things that are like, don't say it, they'll know where to find me. Okay, so anyway, it's another dimension, and I always feel like he's on this ship. I'm telling you, this is how it feels, because I see it in my mind's eye as I'm getting the message, and I'm like I see him in that white room, and he's talking to me, and he's going da, 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 and I'm like, is there a ship here? Like, do you know, I see it like that. That's how I feel it in my head. And then I have to go back to that night when I literally got something planted in my head. And I wonder, I think it's the good guys. That's my opinion.
But JC, do you remember that sign with 555?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
oh, wait, my friend, by the way, my friend, when she woke up and she said about the RFK Jr. dream, she wrote 555. It was 5:55 in the morning when she said that. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Okay. So, no, but because, okay, so when I was at St. Mary's in this place, there was one picture I sent you, and you asked me, is this really like this boat they took? That boat, this like vintage looking old boat that was their dock, the name of the boat was The Fifth Day. Why not the seventh? Why not whatever? The fifth day.
And I stood there,
is Friday. And I stood, right, no, the fifth day, and I stood there and I said, this is 555, like what JC saw on the clock when she woke up after that download she had. That, I mean, it wasn't download, it was actually an experience.
Well, even before I
started,
yeah, it was an astral journey. Even before
right.
I'd started my YouTube channel. You know why I started my YouTube channel? It's because of that guy. Because I was like, I'm just meditating. I'm doing my own thing. I did not have a Facebook group. I did not have a channel. And I'm like, I was just getting excited because I kept having these amazing experiences in I was astral journeying every night. And I was like, this is amazing. So I was just waiting to see where I was taken next. And I'm in the middle of this awesome meditation. And the next thing you know, it's like this light went in my mind. And then he stepped through and he goes, hello, JC. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, who's playing around? I was literally going, okay, this must be AI. Who's playing around? This is a interference here. And he's like, it's me. And I said, John. And he goes, well, you could call me Q if you want. And then I went, what? What? And I was not following that stuff. I'm not joking. My best friend used to sit there and tell me, and I was like, stop telling me about this stuff. She'd tell me, oh, you got to see this thing. Oh, my God, now they're saying JFK. And I said, that's not true. And she'd tell me these things, and I'm like, I don't believe it. I was not into any of it. I was doing my own thing. I didn't want to believe any of that. So it wasn't like I was following him and I was obsessed with it. He literally popped out of nowhere, and I was like, why are you in my meditation? And he's just started talking, and he said to me, we've been watching you. We've recognized you. We know that you're seeing these things that no one else is seeing. And we found you. And I was like, okay. And then he said, and what you need to do, we know that you've been thinking about this stuff. I was like, how do you know? He goes, because we can read consciousness. We know what people, they were able to trace all of this stuff. And I'm like, are you dead? It's like, you're
oh my goodness.
And he's like, no, I'm alive. And I'm like, okay, you sure? Like, how did you come here? They use my consciousnness, and it's connected to a quantum technology, and we're able to tap it. He said, but they're using now the reason why I believe they're using his thing, his Diana's, all of these people, is because of that particular vessel. And I go back to the scuba diver, okay, because that scuba diver analogy of like, it's a scuba diver and it's in different densities of the ocean, right? But at every point, now if you imagine that in each layer, so the scuba diver is still there, okay, but he's had these experiences in all these different dimensions as he's going up and going down into the ocean. And that particular avatar experienced and had in its DNA, in its consciousness and memory, all of the different lifetimes and memories and historical downloads and family lineage and family history and all of that information. Now, let's imagine if it is from a bloodline like the Merovingians, right? He's got all of that in him. Imagine the gold nugget of information that come from that being, okay? And that's why if it's tapped into this technology, they can get lots of information from that, right? They are like little computer systems. So this is why this is all very important. That's why controlling the consciousness is so important for the Cabal as well, right? They want to take the essence of these people, these young beings that are so special. So anyway, yeah, he came to me and he said to me before, he said, we know you want to start a YouTube channel. Oh, no, not a YouTube channel. I didn't want to start a YouTube channel. He said, we know you want to start a new Facebook group. And it's really important that you do. And he said, because you're going to go viral. And I was like, what? No, I'm not. And he's like, no, you need to tell people about what you're seeing here because it's really important. And you need to upload it onto social media. It needs to be part of the computer system and be out there in the ether. And everybody needs to be able to hear this, and because it contributes to the whole system of things, etc.
You're introducing this new concept to many people, and they open up to it.
And that was part of the whole thing. And he said to me, this is in his head, in my head, I'm hearing this, and I'm thinking, this is nuts. But it was like he was standing there talking to me, and he said, "You'll be looked after, so don't worry. Money will start flowing to you." And I'm like, okay. And then, because I was broke, I didn't know money. I didn't have money to rent a place. I didn't have anything. And he said, "It'll be okay. It'll be you'll be looked after, etc. And you, but you need to call it something with a Q in it." And I was like, "Here we go. Here we go. I don't want to be connected with those weirdos." Right now, I'm being sarcastic. So, but at the time, that's what I was thinking. And I said, "Okay, well, what about the word quantum?" And he said, "Okay." And he said, "Can you think there's quantum truths?" And I said, "Yes, quantum truths is good." And he said, "You're going to call it quantum truths, the great awakening and beyond." And I went, "Okay, brilliant. Right, we'll call it that." And then I just the next day I said to my fellow admin who we created the group with, Saul, and I said, "Saul, it's going to be called this." And I told him the whole story. He said, "Great, just call it that and hurry up and get it up." And that's what happened. And then he had told me, document what you saw in your astral journeys. People need to see it. And then put it up onto social media. He didn't say Facebook he just said social media. So I'm like, okay, I've got to do this. I don't know how. So those videos that was an accident. I didn't intend to do a YouTube channel, but that was how it started. And he said, "We're going to communicate with you. And he goes, you've got to do it now. And once you do it, to let you know that you're on track, we will contact you." And I was like, and I'm thinking that the freaking military or the government's going to call me and go, "You're doing a great job, JCK," something like that. And I'm like, "You're going to call me?" And he said, no. He said, we communicate through the computer system. This is how we do it. And he said, and because we're connected to the quantum system, you know my numbers. He said 555 or 55. That's what his name adds up to, I think, in Gematria. And he said, and 17. These are the numbers you got to look for. And I'm like, okay. And then I told my best friend the next day, and she's like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "You got to do it." And I'm like, okay. So she was more aware of this than I was. So I end up doing it. And about a week later, it had blown up. And I was like, what the hell is this? I was just constantly on the phone. I couldn't keep up. People were like joining my Facebook group. Suddenly my video went viral. I was like, oh my God. And I'm talking to my best friend, and suddenly, oops, Anya, you disappeared. Are you there? So suddenly, just got to tell you the story because I think it fits in with the JFK Jr. thing. I'm looking at my phone, chatting to my best friend, and go, "This is crazy." And then all of a sudden, because don't forget, I have a Facebook group and I'm the admin of this group, okay? And there's thousands of people wanting to join. And so I have to approve people in my group. And I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, hey. And it came up that I had to approve a person, but it wasn't for my group. It was for another group. And I'm like, did somebody make me an admin for another group? What is this? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't even belong. What is this group? And guess what the group was called? JFK Jr., Are They Alive? And I'm like, I don't even belong in. What the hell? And I said to my friend, I just got made an admin of this group that I don't even belong to. And she's like, what is it? And I told her, and she's like, oh my gosh, go show me. So I took a screenshot. And I had to approve a member to join this group. And I said, look, they made me an admin and I have to approve this member to join. And she goes, oh my God, look at the numbers, look at the numbers, look at the numbers. And I'm like, it had like 555, 17, 55. Even the time I think I did it was like 5:55 in the afternoon. It was crazy, like the screenshot, everything. And the person's name was Jojo or John or something like that. Okay. And I was just like, what the hell? And it was only because my friend saw it and she's like, they're talking to you. They're telling you you're on the right track. They said to you, what did they say to you? And I said, they said a week after I upload this, they're going to contact me. And it was a week. So this is how they communicate. And these are the little signs that I get. And I think to myself, okay, it's got to be something to this. This is not just my imagination. And that's how it's going to be. It's going to be these subtle things It's always going to be these subtle things. I think you're onto something in regards to the whole resurrection thing. I think that essentially that's what that is. Jesus went from carbon to crystalline. That's what he did, didn't he? He ascended. Your audio. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? You can't hear me? Crap. Okay, everyone, that was an unexpected ending to this beautiful video that I did with Anya K. So we had some technical difficulties there, and I certainly hope that my audio didn't go funny, but Anya couldn't hear me and I couldn't hear her. So we tried several times to get her back into the Zoom chat and it didn't work. So I guess that's the powers that be saying we need to end it right there. But this was this beautiful, beautiful gentleman, beautiful soul, and his beautiful wife, Carolyn, and their whole family. That was such a wonderful interview with Anya. And I'm so glad that she thought of this brilliant idea. So if you're watching this from her channel, I'm sorry, I'm the one that had to end the recording. And if you're watching it from my channel, you'll see me some more. So we will upload this. I mean, by the time you've watched this, you already know this, but we're going to upload it on both of our channels. And we hope you enjoyed this wonderful collaboration that Anya came up with, and it's just so brilliant, and it's led into some brilliant conversations. So thank you very much, and we love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.